Hello and good evening to each and every one of you, especially for the Bachelor of English Language for both blocks A and B, and welcome to my stylistic class. So I have here different pictures. We have here Jose Rizal, Melchor Aquino, and Apolinario Mabini. So how are you going to describe these three people here? Of course, some of you will say Jose Rizal is our national hero, Melchor Aquino is the Tandang Sora, or the mother of the Katipunan, and Apolinario Mabini, the great plebeian. So those descriptions that you have in your mind is what we call style, on how you think about something. Through organization of your thought, you will have a description, you will have a particular way of describing the person. And I have here also two pictures. The one is Gilgamesh and the other one is Lamang. So we have different way to categorize them as a hero based on their strength, based on their ability, and based on the way they present themselves in a story. So when we are creating a description or narrative description to these people here, we are having the what we call style. Okay. So first and foremost, we have here the objectives, define stylistics, familiarize the types of stylistics, apply basic principles of stylistics to produce less impressionistic and subjective interpretation of text, and appreciate the importance of stylistics in analyzing a literary text. So these are the objectives of our lesson today. So let's proceed. What is a stylistic? So basically, stylistic is just a linguistic approach to the study of literary text. It's from Bromfield and Carter, 1997. So in short, when we are describing or criticizing a certain text, that is what we call stylistics. And when we are having what we call description about something, when we are writing something, and we are interpreting something, interpreting the meaning of the text, that is what we call stylistics. Okay, so let's proceed. Stylistic is a branch of applied linguistic concerned with the study of styles in text, especially but not exclusively in literary works, also called literary linguistics. Take note, everything that we interpret, everything that we make meanings are what we call linguistic stylistics, because we are dealing with words, we are dealing with stories, we are dealing with poems, and all of them are called, when we criticize them, we are using linguistic stylistics. Okay, so it focuses on the figures, the what they call is the meter, for instance, in a certain poem, the troops or the what we call figures of speech inside the poem, and other rhetorical devices used to provide variety and distinctness to someone's writing. It is linguistic analysis plus the criticism. So in stylistics, we are targeting two birds in one stone, which is linguistic analysis, the way we analyze the text, and plus criticism, the way we interpret and make meaning about the text. Okay, so let's proceed. So we have types of stylistics here. So here, Mars, when you say Mars, it is a planet, am I right? So Mars is a cold place full of iron oxide dust. So this is what we call stylistic. Why you are describing, you are telling the truth about this planet. Same also with Mercury. Mercury's volume is a little larger than our moon, which is very, ano siya, tawag dito, informative, because it reflects and provides meaningful meaning. I mean, you know that meaningful description about these planets. And we have also Jupiter, which is the biggest planet in the system. So all of these planets here have their own distinctiveness in terms of their size, in terms of their atmosphere, and in terms of description. And the same also with the stylistics. Actually, we have what do you call this one? We have different ways to criticize a text. So I have here the history or ways to criticize text. In the early part or in the early 20th century, actually this is the extension, what do you call this one, extension of literary criticism. In the early 20th century, they are just, what do you call this one, using um, their style in order for them to criticize a certain text. For example, if I'm going to criticize the work of Jane Austen, The Pride and Prejudice, I could say that all from the start to finish, the wordings and the characters as well inside the text are more on the social form. Okay, in the social form, we could categorize that in that particular novel, social status is relevant in the early 20th century. So that's how they criticize the text. Another is a new criticism. When saying new criticism, it is concentrated on the literary text. Fasi, why do we need to criticize a text? It is it is bad ba to criticize a text? In short, hindi siya bad na i-criticize ang isang text. Why? Because in criticizing literature, you will gain something from it. You will learn something from the novel that you are reading. You will make a feedback for the things that you read from that novel, and then at the same time, the way you construct your sentence, you will see that it is far different from the style of other people. So that's why we need to criticize. So way back here, new criticism, it is concentrated on the literary text. So how about this new criticism, Fasi? Actually, new criticism came from its father, which is yung tawag dito, Russian formalism. So Russian formalism is the main what do you call this one? The main part and the two subtitles or subdisciplines of Russian formalism is new criticism and British contextualism. So therefore, new criticism focuses on what do you call this one, on the characters, are their perspective in the story, what are their roles in the story. At the same time, it is also same with the text. Okay, so how can we interpret a text if there is what we call different ways to interpret it? Okay, so therefore we need to make a criticism based on the text. If mayroon ba siyang figures of speech, kung meron ba siyang repetition of words, kung ang ginamit ba na words ay Old English at saka New English. So, depende. Basta ang pinofocus ng new criticism ay yung mismong text itself. Okay. How about the author, Fasi? The author is not included in the new criticism because we are just focusing on it. So, yung biography of the author, yung kanyang works, yung kanyang Nobel Prizes are not included in the new criticism. Okay, so let's proceed. British contextualism. Actually, in the British contextualism, the proponents of British contextualism include John Rupert and Firk. Mac Halliday, of course. Mac Halliday is what they call this one, the father of. I mean, he is the one who makes the what we call interpersonal communication. So again, Mac Halliday is he's the one who created the what we call interpersonal what do you call this one, way of communication. So meron tayong representative, meron tayong personal, meron din tayong two-way communication and such. So yon. So let's proceed. Of course, Russian formalism introduced the textual study of text known as foregrounding theory. When you say foregrounding theory, it is a theory wherein we are studying the text itself. So we are digging deeper on the, for example, the lesson of the story or the role of the character inside the story or the text itself. If it's more on sa figures of speech, or if it's more on sa structuralist approach, kung tama ba yung grammar or what, we will use this one Russian formalism when we are criticizing also a poem. Minsan kasi, 'di ba, in when we are creating a poem, we have that poetic license to commit grammatical error. So now, we are criticizing a text, for example, kung meron siyang grammatical error, so part pa din siya ng Russian formalism. Part pa din siya ng pagkikriticize sa mismong text na yun. Okay? Next one is the nature and scope of stylistics. As we know that every individual is known from his or her style, every person in the world possesses some kind of style suitable for him or her. Similarly, every writer has his or her own style of writing. It is observed that every writer makes use of linguistic choices to describe the situation and to portray his character. So therefore, in the nature and scope of stylistics, we are, what do you call this one? We also know the way we create sentence, the way we criticize text, because that's our own style. So we have different styles in how we criticize text. And it's also similar to the authors of different books. They have their way, they have their own style to create the story. They have their own style to catch the attention of the reader, and they have their own style um, to describe the characters in the story. The same also. Okay. Next one for the nature and stylistics. In here, nature of stylistics. We have here, wait. Oh, parang ano ata siya. Ito siya. Deals with a wide range of language varieties and styles that are possible in creating different texts. There are certain possibilities for the writers to make the selection of the words from a wide range of storehouse of the words, such as synonyms, antonyms, homonyms, and metonymy. The writer also makes use of phonological, morphological, and syntactical systems of linguistics depending on the situations. Stylistics is the distinctive way to use language. Any prose writer or a poet or a playwright uses this unique method to create a text. So in short, it is also, ang stylistic just used to a wide range varieties of language, and we create different, what do you call this one, description of the text, and we are creating different perspective as well in writing a text. So ito yung mga examples of what they call this one, people that they have unique way of writing. So we have William Shakespeare, E. Cummings, Edgar Allan Poe, Christopher Marlowe, Francis Bacon, William Faulkner, and Robert Frost, and many other writers that they have their distinct way to write as stories or poems. Next one, why should we do stylistics? So since stylistics is the borderline discipline between language and literature, it focuses on language use in both literary and non-literary texts. It takes into account many disciplines such as literature, sociology, psychology, philosophy, and so on and so forth. So stylistics have a wide range of subgenres because it touches the literature when we are criticizing the literature itself. Sociology, when we are having a distinctiveness, like we those people who people who are part of the high style, the same also in the middle style and the low style. Psychology, the behavior, we are creating such behavior when we are criticizing the text. For example, we can adapt the behavior of the character inside the story. We can also notice the different changes of mode inside the story sa mga characters. And philosophy as well, the love of wisdom, it is also included here in stylistics. Next, we have stylistics looks at style from the following perspective. So the first one is style as a choice. Writer makes certain choices of the words. So it's, as what I've said earlier, the William Shakespeare, William Faulkner have their own distinctive way of writing something. So doon pa lang sa novel na yun, malalaman mo na, ay si William Shakespeare to kasi more on siya sa romance. Ay si ano to, Virginia Woolf kasi mahilig siya sa feminist approach. Something like that. Because that's the way they impart something to the reader. The way they make words. The choices of their words really matter because that is their way to be unique from the other author. Okay. Style as situation, the context in which the text comes to life. So in the style as situation, for example, there is what we call changing of environment. From kunyari summer siya tapos magiging winter. Tapos yung character nung sa unang part is mabait naman siya. Pero nung at the end of the story naging masama na siya. Something like that. So it is a style of situation. You can figure out who the authors are if you know the way they change the situation inside the story, something like that. And we have style as deviation, wherein that the style does not conform to the standard form of writing. Kasi minsan merong grammatical error in terms of poem, merong what do you call this one, Old English na hindi siya maintindihan. Meron ding super highfalutin words ang nandun sa mismong text kahit hindi na siya naintindihan at all. So that is a style of deviation. They did not conform for the standard form of writing. So another is style as individual. Man is known by his style. So we have different style to make stories and to make sentences, to make a novel. We have distinct style to what they call this one, to impart with the other reader. Next one is style as temporal phenomenon. So the time factor plays an important role. Temporal, it is what we call time. When the writer wants to write a text, he or she has to consider the time factor. For example here, Shakespeare wrote the plays and used the language that was relevant to his period. Correct. The modern playwrights do not write the same way as Shakespeare did. Therefore, there is a marked difference between Old English and Modern English. Yes, this one is correct because time is also relevant to the way the author wrote something because that is parang prevalent in their time. For example, in the World War II, may mga stories na ang genre ay sa World War II, ganon. May mga stories din na kung babalikan ay pure romance, mga ganon, mga style of poem, more on sa romance, something like that. And kapag ano naman napapanahon, that's contemporary world, contemporary stories na siya, mga ganon. 3 basic principles of a linguistic approach. So I have here, the greater our detailed knowledge of the working of the language system, the greater our capacity for insightful awareness of the effects produced by the literary text. Yes, this one is true because we cannot make our analysis or we cannot analyze a certain text if we if we cannot understand the whole text itself, di ba? So it's hard naman to interpret if you don't know the story. And ganun siya din dito. Another, a principled analysis of language can be used to make our commentary on the effects produced in a literary work less impressionistic and subjective. So kapag when we are analyzing the language and as well as interpreting the language, we become subjective, yes, because that's our commentary. That's our feedback on the text that we read. Another is it will be rooted in a systematic awareness of language. Analysis of one linguistic pattern requires reference to checking against related patterns across the text. So we should always, we are not just interpreting and criticizing the text, but also we come up with the reference to check if the things that we interpret, what we are interpreting in the text, it is also similar with the reference that we have. So we need to put our reference inside the text for patterns across. Parang ano siya, cross-referencing. So those are the things that we need to learn. And aside from that, we have also the importance of practical stylistics. So it can provide the means whereby the student of literature can relate a piece of literary writing based on or experience of language and so can extend that experience. So one practical ways of stylistics while we are doing criticism or criticizing the text is that we could be able to put our own experience in the language so that it can be extended from one experience to another. It can be passed down from one experience to another. Another thing is it can assist in the transfer of interpretative skills on essential purpose of literary education. So it could uphold the way we interpret, it could uphold the way we analyze the text, and it could also uphold our thinking in terms of criticizing the text. Another is it can provide a procedure for demystifying literary text. When we say demystifying the literary text, we come up with basing from one literature to another literature. We can categorize them by criticizing the text. Next one is the focus of the literary text in itself provides a context in which the learning of aspects of language can be positively enjoyed. So stylistics is one of the branches of literature that could provide us a way of enjoyment by reading the novel um, that we enjoy to read, and by enjoying the lesson that we gain from a certain poem, something like that. And we could also enjoy the perspective of different author, and it can be also seen in us because as we create our own interpretation, we could make something like we could be able to know our own style in terms of creating a poem or creating a novel in our life. So if you want to also, what do you call this one, to make your own novel, so you need first know how the author works or creates his or her novel that can attract many readers in the world. So stylistics is very essential for us because it teaches us to know our own style, our own way to write and interpret a literary text. So that would be all for today. I hope you learned something, and God bless you everyone. Stay safe. Bye.